Welcome back to another episode of the Vibes Podcast. Man, you might have seen this woman once or twice, three times if you're in the Navy Yard, but we'll get to that. Tell people who you are before I tell them me. I'm gonna at this point.
My name is Ashley Brooks. I'm a realtor in the DMV area, also known as your preferred realtor on all my social media platforms.
Okay, hashtag real debate. She was gonna leave that out. And this is your boy Two Double King, your favorite Leo. And now I am pleased to have you back and get this going again. So tell people who you are because you tried to have a podcast with me before we
I
even
did
started
not try to have a
recording.
podcast with you before we started recording.
So who are you? Where did this preferred realtor Bay? You got conferences going on now. What's going on?
Your preferred realtor. I'm your preferred realtor. I'm a realtor.
Mm.
Outside of a realtor, I'm a mom. Outside of being a mom, I am a kid. I like all my friends will tell you I'm forever on joke time. So out of
Okay.
professional Ashley, out of mom Ashley, I'm always on joke time.
Okay.
I'm funny. We gonna laugh. But being a realtor came about. I used to work at a law firm, doing real estate law. So I did like evictions, short sales, things like that.
Okay.
I was a lead paralegal over my department. I did the Virginia foreclosure process.
Okay.
I needed to go to a football game. My son was 5 at the time.
Mhm.
They were going to Florida for a football game.
Okay.
And
Football mama.
yeah, Stephanie football mom. Shout out to all the football moms. And my son's father had passed away about 2 years prior
Right.
to that, because my son was 3 when he passed away. And I put my notice in like, hey, I need to go to Florida for a week because my son is having a game. I was at the company when he passed away, so they clearly know like I'm my son's only parent.
Right.
And I remember the person telling me that if I go, I might not have a job when I come back. They can't guarantee that I would have a job.
And you risked it.
How you know? Because how you gonna tell me I'm not gonna have a job when I come back and I've been here for 7 years?
That's more than enough time.
Like, I'm over your department. What do you mean I'm not gonna have a job when I come back? So I was distraught. I was
Okay.
in like shambles. And one of the attorneys was like, why don't you become a realtor? And I was like, well, what is a realtor? And he was like, we take houses, but it's people that sell houses. And I was like, well, how much do they make?
that was the
Because
bottom line.
that's how much do they make? Because that's what we need to know.
Okay.
And he laughed at me. He was like, the income is limitless. Like, the
It
income
really
is
is.
what you make it. It's based upon your
Mhm.
what you do. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, what about a degree? Because I don't have one of those.
Wait, you don't?
I do not have a degree.
Wait a minute. So once you got out of high school, what did you do?
I was pregnant with my son. I was pregnant with my son in high school.
Oh, wait a minute now. So you got out of high school. That unfortunate event happened with your kid's father. What did you immediately jump into? Because it couldn't have just been that law firm.
No, okay, we could back up. In high school, so I was raised in foster care,
Okay.
in group homes, and I had a foster parent. Kind of went from this place to that place, whatever the case may be. And my son's father, I would say, is the first person that was the first stable, consistent being in my life. And yeah, I got pregnant in high school. Right, I met him in 9th grade. Got pregnant as a senior in high school. Very statistical.
It worked out.
I hate to say it, but very statistical.
Okay.
I finessed my way to graduate through high school because I was on the chopping block of not graduating.
You got pregnant in what, 11th?
No, 12th.
Okay.
I was
You weren't about
early.
to get out.
No, like but I used that. I was like, listen, like, I'm pregnant. Y'all want me back here next year with a baby? Like, come on, y'all gotta let me pass. Like, you gotta let me go.
Okay.
But I also learned, and I said this before to somebody. I learned at a very early age that being in the system, the school system in general does not want to do the background work that it would take to hold somebody back in the system. Like, to hold me back in school, y'all got to go through a lot of paperwork with a lot of different people, right?
Oh, so it's not like a quick, all right, you just not going.
No, it's more in depth because you're a ward of the state.
Okay.
And so I learned that at a very early age. And so I learned at a very early age that I could do the bare minimum and I could still make it by. Until I got to 7th grade. My teacher, Miss Merrick. Let me tell you something about Miss Merrick. I feel like any teachers out there,
Okay.
I want you to know that you guys, your work does not go unnoticed.
Mhm.
And your kid or your student might not understand the effects now,
Mhm.
but years from now, it will hit them. And I had this teacher named Miss Merrick, and she was my 7th grade English teacher. And now, mind you, I didn't really learn how to comprehend what I was reading until 11th grade.
So
right?
like dyslexic?
Borderline.
Okay.
And Miss Merrick, I used to have every excuse as to why I didn't do something, right?
Mhm.
And every day I would walk in Miss Merrick class. She literally said this to me every single day, my entire 7th grade.
Mhm.
She said to me, excuses are for weak and incompetent people. And you are not weak nor incompetent. And therefore, I will not accept your excuse. and she would go on about her class. She would go on to teaching, and I didn't care
Sheesh.
what she was saying in my 7th grade self, right?
Right.
But every day I walked into her classroom, and every day I had an excuse as to why I didn't do something. Whatever it was, a work assignment, a project, whatever it was, every day I had an excuse, and every day she told me excuses are for weak and incompetent people. Like, she said it to me like she was speaking to my soul. And I used to be like, don't even give a fuck about what this lady is talking about, right? Like, I don't care, bro. Like, I'm not doing this. I got 1,000 other things I got going on. I'm not thinking about this later
Right.
project. And so I go through life, and it hit me maybe earlier this year. I was driving down Suitland Parkway.
Okay.
And I was just like kind of looking back over of like life and like the things I've accomplished, the things I haven't accomplished, and like just things. And I heard her voice, and I heard excuses are for weak and incompetent people.
All right.
And you're not weak nor incompetent, and therefore I will not accept your excuses. And what that statement has done to me for my life is I'm able to hold myself accountable as an adult. I'm able to, if plan A don't work, we got a plan B. If plan B don't work, we got a C. And if C don't work, we're going to go to D.
But you know, some people say having a plan B, C, D, and E gives you an scapegoat.
It
If A
doesn't,
don't
because
work.
I don't jump to B until A has failed. I don't even know what B is until A has failed. But it holds me, that statement sits in my subconscious. So like subconsciously, she embedded that into my soul. And so I stand on that I don't have an excuse if I don't accomplish something, if I don't reach a number, if I don't do something, it's simply just because I didn't do it. Like, I simply just did not do it. Like, if I didn't reach my numbers for the month, maybe I could have worked a little bit harder. Maybe I played a little bit too much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm able to reflect on self and not place that blame outward.
Okay.
Which I feel like a lot of people do. Like, oh, I couldn't do this because XYZ was in the way. Like, nah, you could have did it. You could have.
What do you do when that happens though? Like you didn't hit your number or something. Are you hard on yourself, or you just like, all right, I'll do better next time and go on about your business?
No, I am. I'm extremely hard on myself. I'm probably my own worst critic. I also know that like up until again this year, I've probably been like my biggest person holding me back, just because I'm extremely critical. I overthink things. I need things to be like perfection. If it doesn't look this way, then I don't want to post it. You know what I mean? So like I
That
think
is a fact.
what?
When I first met you, and I told you your page is so professional, there is not a blemish on this page, and I'm like, this all of it, every part of it is good. Where did you learn that from, though? The perfectionist part of you.
My mentor. I haven't always been like the refined me now. Like, this is just over the last 5 years.
Right.
And I got when I first got into real estate, which I've never answered your question. We could go back to it.
Oh, yeah,
But
we going all of them.
when I first got into real estate, I had no idea what I was doing. I quit my job. I got my license. I said I'm gonna be a realtor. And
Did you know how much they made?
they told me it was limitless. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to make 6 figures. It's lit. Like, what are you talking about?
First week,
we outside. And I got a reality check, because you go to the real estate class and they teach you about the terms, and they teach you they just teach you stuff, right? Like how you go to school and you don't apply it in your day-to-day life.
right?
They don't do a great job of highlighting your day-to-day activities as a realtor. And so I became a realtor. I had no clue really what I was doing. It was this lady in my office. Her name was Lakeisha Washington. She used to parade into the office for the business meeting. She had her red bottoms on. She drove a Range Rover.
Oh, she was out here doing it.
This was before red bottoms this was before Cardi B came out. This was before everybody and their mother had red bottoms. Like, she had already had them before Cardi B was Cardi B. Okay, she was already on it. And so I used to watch her in the office like, who is this lady? Like, who is this lady? Like, she's getting money, and I'm trying to get that type of money, right? And I followed her and I watched her for a couple of months. She used to come into the office complaining about not wanting to do paperwork.
Did you speak to her?
No, I mean, I would like wave to her. You know what I'm saying? I would see
so
her in
you
the
was
office,
in the back just observing,
just watching and observing, and I saw that she hated to do paperwork. She did not like to do paperwork. My background was a paralegal. I did all of the paperwork for the attorneys.
Oh, she said, "Hold on now.
What you need? I got you." I was pregnant at the time, with my daughter, and I came up to her and I asked her, I said, "Hey, like, do you want some help?" And she was like, "What?" I was like, "You need some help, like, with your files?" Or like, "I don't know what you got going on, but like, whatever you got going on, you need some help?" And she stopped and she paused and she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, cool." So she said she'll pay me per hour to do some work for her. So I started doing like odd jobs, like odd like stuff. And then I ended up having my daughter. My daughter ended up passing away in the NICU. And I went back into the office and I was like, look, like, let me work under you. Like, I'll do all your paperwork for you and whatever you got going on, like, I'll do your schedule for you for the day. Like, I'll be your personal assistant. And she like kind of looked at me and was like, I'm not looking for an assistant. And I was like,
Yeah, you
yeah,
are.
you are. You
Yeah,
just don't
you.
know that you are.
You gotta have that.
Yeah,
You gotta
like,
have that confidence to
like,
say, "Yeah,
yeah,
you
you
are."
are. And so I started doing this work for her.
Mm.
Again, didn't really know what I was doing. I was winging it. Like I was finessing it because I didn't know how to write a contract. I didn't know how to do a listing agreement. I didn't know how to run comps. I didn't know how to do anything.
Was Google teaching you this?
I was asking agents in the office, like I was asking the manager, like, hey, how you do? And then some stuff is common, like common sense,
Right.
or some. And you know what? I don't want to say common sense, but some stuff you could kind of just like again, contracts was my background, and like legal was my background, so I could I was finessing it,
Right.
and I finessed it long enough where she really thought that I knew what I was doing. Like I was that good that she really thought that I was doing. I knew what I was doing.
You faked it till you made it.
Yeah, and so I cost her almost, I think it was like $30,000. I messed up on a deal, messed up on a contract. I forgot to disclose something and have the person sign it, and it came out as settlement, and we lost the deal, and I just knew I was fired.
Run me through the moments in your mind.
I said, mind you, this I was not again. I at this point in my life, I had just lost the baby. I'm still not making no money for real.
And
Like
then you lost 30
I'm,
G's.
you know what I'm saying? I'm not who I am today.
Right.
And I just like I couldn't even touch 30 G's, let alone think to lose 30 G's, right? And I was like, I definitely just lost this opportunity,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know what I'm gonna do, right? And
Mhm.
so when I had a conversation with her, and I said, look, I don't know what I'm doing. And she said, what do you mean? Like the way she looked at me, she was like, what do you mean?
What do you mean? You've been my assistant. What you mean?
What you mean? I said, I don't know. I said, I have to be honest with you. I really don't know what I'm doing. I've been winging it thus far because I wanted this opportunity and I wanted to be able to learn from you, but I don't know what I'm doing. And she said, well, how the hell do you think you're supposed to learn something if you don't say that you don't know what you're doing?
Right.
And now, mind you, go back to like my upbringing. I never had a safe space to feel like it's okay for me to say, or you're going to teach me. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't have that. So
Right.
I wasn't about to sit up here and be vulnerable and be like, yeah, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know you
And
like
you
that.
won't judge me for not knowing. So she cursed me out for sure, but she didn't fire me. She taught me. She taught me. And she
So you just got that stern talking to.
yeah, she taught me, and from that moment I was extremely just transparent with her about stuff that I didn't know. I learned, I watched her. The first time I went to her house, it was an eye opener for me. And I always say that we talk about people in certain situations and we say like, "Oh, people should be able to step out the box and do this and step out the box and do
Right,
that," right? But also things don't really seem obtainable without exposure, right? Like I could see something on social media, but social media at this point isn't real. So
You talking heavy.
like social media isn't real. So I can't touch social media, right? Like I
Right.
can't touch that person with 150,000 followers and look like they lit every single day. I can't touch that
Right.
person. But the first time I walked into this lady's house, I said, God damn. Like I just looked, I said, you live here? Like you live here?
Was she older? Younger?
No, she's in her 40, like
Oh,
late
yeah, she was
40.
still
She
young.
lit.
Yeah.
No, this is like still current. And I walked into her house. This is literally this is only 4 years ago.
Oh, shit.
So I walked into her house and I'm like, yo, you're lit. Like you're not famous. You not a city girl. You not an attorney. You know what I'm saying? You're not a doctor. You're not an attorney.
You're not the normal things
Yeah,
people say.
that people
Yeah.
see for success. You sell real estate. And her husband was a colonel in the Air Force, but you sell real estate. And that made it touchable. It made it obtainable. And then from being around her, it groomed that perfection. Because she used to say certain things to me like, that's not what we do. That's not what we represent. Like, you're not going to be attached to my brand in the public looking like that's not what we do and that is not what we represent.
That's all
And
different.
you got to be open to taking criticism, right? Like, because she definitely she's critiqued me throughout the years. She has basically, I don't want to use the word groomed, but she has given me an example of how to do certain things. And we don't agree on everything, right? Like I wear crop tops in the office and she curses me out daily to this day. Don't wear no crop top in this office. It's a business crop top, bro.
What the hell is a business
You see it on my
crop top?
page. You know, like the work shirts and they're like a crop top.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, and I'm always like this with my crop top on. It's okay. It's who I am. So we don't agree on everything, but I would say like much of my success, I give it to her. I give it to her and I give it to my friends because my friend group, I have an amazing friend group behind me. My friend group supports me like ridiculously. Like when I decided I was going to quit my job and just sell real estate.
You were
That
talking to me about your friends, and I think from what you just said about your mentor, about having a representation of your brand,
mhm.
regardless. So you were saying earlier that if you go out with your homegirls, there are certain things that will not touch the light of day.
Mhm.
Who was that? You that implemented that, or was that like a whole girl's decision? Like, hey,
It's not even like, so I have a mixed friend group, right?
okay,
And I always tell people it's okay to have different friend groups for different arenas. I have
okay,
multiple friend groups. But throughout the course of all of my friend groups, all of my friends know what it is that I'm trying to do, what it is that I aspire to do, and where it is that I'm trying to go.
mm,
So some things are just a non-negotiable. We're not posting that because we don't want to expose that person in that light and give the media a false perception and have it blend over into their professional world, and then they're looked at less professional because they wanted to go stand on the couch. You know what I mean? Like, we're still humans, and I think it's a struggle of trying to keep your professional being and your personal being. But social media is just that, to be social. It's not to be personal. I don't use social media for personal media. So I'm social on social media. So I keep my friends, I keep people around me that understand where I want to go. And even
uh,
if they don't want to go there, or that's not their goal to be whatever it is that I'm trying to
right,
be, they support it and they respect it, and
mm.
they push that narrative along. So they're not going to expose me in a light that might make somebody second guess my professionalism.
But with that, what you just said, a lot of people will say, "Do it anyway." It's who you are. Don't care what
It
other
is
people
it
say
is who
think
I
about
am, and
you.
I don't care. I don't, in theory, I don't care what people think about me in the sense of, oh, I remember when Ashley used to do this, or I remember when
Mhm.
Ashley used to do that. I done came a long, long way from I remember when. And I done made a lot of accomplishments, and I done a lot of things. And I remember when I told y'all to come along and y'all still standing in that same space. So I really don't care what you remember. And that's the space that I'm in now. So I could come on these podcasts and I can have these conversations, and I could be a little bit more transparent, because from a professional standpoint, I feel like, yes, I have made headway, right? And
Right,
I've accomplished things that, again, I don't care what you remember no more, because I don't know that person and you don't know who I am now.
right,
So it's okay to grow and it's okay to disassociate and move on.
right.
Um, and so, yeah, I am still who I am, but that doesn't need to be on the internet. The internet doesn't need to know that, because, again, it's social media, not personal media.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on the social media to be social, not personal. You don't need to know all my personal life. My closest friends know who I am. And my friends say that all of the time, like, don't nobody care about your preferred rose. Like, they don't care about your
You made
preferred
it your
realtor.
brand though.
That's my brand. And I think if you follow me on TikTok, then you get a little bit more less professional, not less professional, but I'm like, I'm at home doing DIYs and stuff. So I'm like less
You
whatever.
made I just had this conversation. What you were saying with your mentor and how you wear crop tops. People see realtors in a certain light.
Mhm.
You make realting your own thing. Like you can still be attractive and cute and still bottom line, this is the business, this is Stern. And it seems like you have kept your personal and your business life separate, but they still operate in the same
Yeah, because I
arenas.
feel like people want to work with people they're relatable to, right?
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to just be like, if I'm on the internet and the only thing I'm posting is realtor definitions all day, or you know what I mean? Like, I still want to be relatable. I still want to be relatable to that single mother
Right.
that doesn't think that she could purchase a house on her own because she's a single mother. I'm a single mother. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, my son's father passed away when he was 3. So I do want to be relatable in a sense and accessible enough to show and use my backstory as an inspiration to
Mm.
somebody that might look like me. Somebody that might come from the similar background as me and say, if she's doing it, because literally, if I'm doing it, then you can do it too. And so for that single mother that thinks that they can't purchase a house, you can. It might not look like, my first house wasn't glitzy and glammy, and it
Tell them
wasn't.
about the first house. Come on.
The first house, I bought my first house using a program called NACA,
Okay.
which
I've
is
heard of this.
it's a great program. The infrastructure takes forever. I think they just lack the manpower behind it to get
Mhm.
everybody through the system. But they're not giving you, well, let me say this. You're not owed a house,
That's a
right?
fact.
You
That's a
are not
fact.
owed a house. It is not everyone's goal, but it's some people's goal to own a house, but you are not owed a house. So, like, don't go into the real estate market thinking that somebody owes you something. Like,
Right.
nobody owes you closing help. The government doesn't owe you a grant for you to be able to purchase a house. It's nice
Right.
that they do it, but you're not owed
You're
that.
not owed it. Right.
It's not You're not owed it. So if you
Right.
take that emotional standpoint out of it, you can operate in the real estate realm a little bit better, right? Because I
Right.
know, like, for example, like closing help. If I come to you, like, Marcus, I want to buy your house, but I need you to give me $20,000 of your equity so I can purchase it. You can even ask your mama for $20,000. Why are you asking a stranger for $20,000 and then get mad when they tell you no?
That's a fact. Because they
So
feel like they owed that.
there, and you're
Yeah.
not. But I went through my first house using NACA. I had a 580 credit score.
Okay.
Um,
Are we talking credit?
because they don't go off of your credit, they go off your payment history. They still want to see you have some income in your bank account because you still do have some closing costs, right?
Right.
So I bought my first house for $260,000. I think my closing cost was 6,000 something dollars. And let me tell you, $6,000 when I first bought my house, I was poor. Like I depleted my account and was like on a hope and a dream, like this gonna work. On a hope and a dream, this gonna work. But I understood the vision. Like I knew that I'm not staying here long term.
All
This
right.
is temporary. The house meets the minimum requirements that I needed. It's in a good rental area because I turned my house into a rental and I knew that I was going to turn it into a rental. So I was like, you know what? It checks the boxes. Forget everything else.
How old
Let's
were
go
you
for
when
it.
this was happening?
I just brought it in when I was 28.
Oh, shit. This is you
This
making
was
this. Yeah, you could do this.
Yeah, this was less than 4 years ago.
Okay.
And so I stayed in that house for 2 years and I rented out and then I brought the new construction house that I just built.
Mm.
And so my income from my property now pays half of the mortgage for the new
Yeah, I remember
property.
that. Yeah.
So you get in, it's not in the thought process of like, oh, this is a house. It's not your forever home. And I think my background of being able to jump from house to house
Uh-huh.
also does not keep me emotionally attached to houses because I'm thinking about putting a tenant in this house right now and moving to Navy Yard as we speak.
You are
Um,
so in love with
I
Navy
love Navy Yard.
Yard.
Navy Yard is my forever vibe. But I'm not emotionally attached to houses. And I don't look at houses from an emotional standpoint. I look at houses from a financial standpoint. How much money can this piece of property make me in the next 2 years? How much, you know what I mean? And so when you go into real estate and taking your emotions out of the transaction and you're just looking at it black and white and you're looking at the numbers make sense, do the deal. And that's how I operate in real estate.
Are you an African American woman?
My mother is Caucasian and my father is Black. And yes, I am an African American woman.
Okay. So with that being said, do you feel as though in the Black community, a lot of people, they want their first house to be their forever house? There is no, oh, well, I could take the equity, sell it, go to get another house. It's always, I need everything glitz and glam right now. Then the house is too much or out of budget. Where do you say to people that you're saying stop that? That is not an ultimate goal here.
Yeah, like I won't have my forever house for at least another 10 years, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. And that might be a stretch because I like them. I'm a pick and move type person. But I think it is again taking the emotions out of
Right.
it, taking the what people think, what you want to show, what you
Mm.
want it to look. Take all of that out of it and look at the numbers. What do the numbers say? Like I had somebody tell me the other day, I'm not purchasing a house because what the bank pre-approved me for, nobody's buying a house for that. The bank pre-approved it was like a $315,000 price point. In this area, $315,000 is it? Are you getting the nicest of the nicest?
Hell no.
Maybe not.
Uh,
Maybe not. But it's not forever. So if you can only get approved for three something right now, look for something that is going to yield you a high rental return. Because you don't want like mass portfolios of rentals to be high value properties either.
right.
Like you're not going to go rent out a $600,000 single family house. That's too much house to have to manage if they mess it up. But
Uh-huh.
you will be comfortable renting out a 2 or 3 bedroom condo. Again, it's not forever. You when you go to rent a house, you stay there for a year, you stay there for 2 years, and then your lease is up and you move on, right?
Mhm.
You could do the same thing with buying, but you just stack the houses. You stack your portfolio by just keep buying.
Did you teach yourself about money?
Yeah, like watching people that have money.
Yeah,
And
it
like
sounds like you're very, huh?
like it's
You're
very
on
because it's
it.
black and white. Like it's really black and white. Like even like I didn't learn about the whole credit thing until like I bought my first house, right?
Right.
And then I learned that you are not supposed to use your debit card. Like everything that you use your debit card with, you could just use your credit card with. But
I
you
found that out like 2 years ago. Use your credit card.
use your credit card and just pay it back on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis or a
Uh-huh.
monthly basis. But I think like within our community, we get the misconception of, oh, I got $5,000 on my credit card, I could go to Tyson's. No, you can't. No, you can't go to Tyson's. You cannot go buy anything. That $5,000 should be for what you're already using.
Especially if you're not going to pay that
Pay
back.
it back, and
Yeah,
especially if you
yeah.
don't have the money. Like if you don't already have the money in your account, then you shouldn't be buying it.
Right.
So I swiped my credit card for food and gas and clothes and outings, whatever the case may be,
And then just pay it.
and just pay it. And then
Yeah.
that way I get flight rewards, I get cashback rewards. And the more you use your credit, the more you will grow your credit. And so that whole like, oh, I'm gonna pay somebody to fix my credit. You can fix your own credit if you use your credit. Like the whole concept of like, oh, I need more credit. Why would you give me if you give me $1,000, right? And I never use $1,000, why would you give me more money? I don't
Right.
use it.
Right.
But if you give me $1,000 and on a monthly basis, because I pay my card off every 2 weeks or every week,
Oh, she
I
talking.
spend $2,500. The algorithm is gonna pick up like, oh,
It's a credit game.
she's spending more than 1,000. She's spending 25 with no problem. Let me go ahead and give her 5,000. And then once you manage that, it's like, oh, let me give her 7. Oh, let me give her. You know what I mean? Like I have multiple cards. You send me a credit card, I'm opening it, and it's gonna sit because
I got multiple accounts.
do you need $100,000 in credit? Maybe not, but
Depending on how you
maybe.
live.
But maybe because what if
Yeah.
something happens and now an emergency you need $30,000? I could go use $30,000 and my credit utilization will be fine because I'm still in that 30% myself. I have 100,000. So the more you use your credit, the more you grow your credit. But you have to be responsible with that credit.
Yeah.
It's the responsibility aspect that I think a lot of people lack. Is being responsible.
You got a good point there, but I'm not off of you because you just wanted to talk to me so much off this air. You had a major event happen, and I'm not gonna let you slide because you say you out here suffering from anxiety about this, and your birthday's Friday. Tell people about this event that you were so nervous about.
So I hosted my first charity event called Success Suits Our Youth.
Uh-huh.
And it is geared toward assisting the underprivileged youth with
Right.
professional clothing.
Mhm.
I think when we think about clothes drives and we think about coat drives, those are all nice, but typically they get clothes that are worn or just, dingy, not in the
Uh-huh.
best shape. And so this initiative was to collect new or lightly used suits and slacks and dress shirts and even like jeans just without the holes in them. You know what I mean? Like just so
Mhm.
you look good, you feel good. And so to change that narrative of why don't these kids go out and get a job? They're standing outside. Maybe they don't have the attire to even feel like they
That's a
are going
fact.
to be able to be accepted when they walk in that building. Because regardless of what we want to say and oh, you should be able to be who you are, there are standards and you can't make change from a
Yes.
room you can't get inside of. And so again, I was once that child. Why am I going to walk into an establishment that I know is going to prejudge me based upon the way I look or based upon the way I'm dressed? And I'm
Mhm.
not I'm not offered those clothes. You think about the kids, especially east of the river, east of Anacostia. What professional clothes? You know what I mean? Like they're not exposed to it.
Right.
So the whole initiative is going to be a couple of phase things, but the whole initiative behind Success Suits Our Youth, it's to expose them and make it tangible. Like how I had that all moment when I walked into my mentor's house to be like, damn, she's just a regular person. Like this is obtainable.
Oh yeah.
Like I want to make it obtainable to them. I
Mm.
want them to see me and know that I'm accessible. They have access to me. I'm touchable. I'm real. And I do this every day. You know
Right.
what I mean? So kind of just like going back and giving back to them and highlighting real estate. Because a lot of them don't like I'm not going to Georgetown Prep. I'm not going to Sidwell. You know what I mean? Those kids are already exposed to
You
real
out here doing
estate
the
and those
Lord's
things.
work.
So it is to go back into the underprivileged areas and expose them to real estate. And then maybe you don't want to be a realtor. Maybe you want to be an appraiser. Maybe you want to be a lender.
There's many
Maybe you want to be
places.
an inspector. There's many places
Right.
within inside of real estate that you can thrive. And again, we cannot make change from a room that we cannot be in, that we're not in. And so for all of those, the gentrification conversations and all of those type of conversations, get in the room. Be a factor in that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Be that lender that's lending to that black developer. Be that appraiser that's valuing that black person. Like get in the room, make the
Right.
change. And so I stand on you cannot make change outside of a room that you cannot get in. So whatever it looks like for me to get inside that room, I'll adapt. Doesn't take away from who I am as a person. Just means that I'm willing to adapt to get into the room. And once I'm in the room, I can maneuver.
How did the event go?
It went great. We got so much stuff. Like my friend was at my house the other
She's so
day.
excited.
I was so excited. Like again, this is my first event. I do not throw events because I just be feeling like, oh, no one's gonna come, or what about this, or what about like I will talk myself out of an event every time. But so many people came. I mean, I got Burberry, we got Supreme jackets, we got Gucci, it's Polo. It's like so much Zara. It's full Zara suits with tags still on them.
Uh-huh.
Like good. I was looking at some of the stuff like, damn,
She said, "Now you could have got
I
that."
said, this kind of cute. Like this might have to, but I was extremely excited with the turnout. The venue, the Thompson Hotel, allowed me to host it there for free.
Mhm.
Shout out to the Thompson Hotel in the Navy Yard. Great rooftop. The lobster rolls were Chef's kiss. But it was great. It was a good time. It was a really, really, really good time. I'm looking forward to my next one.
So this is about to be something that you continue doing more than
Yeah, so I
likely.
actually just got called today to ask to partner on a charity event. Which I
Assistant
think is
coming.
extremely dope because again, you never know like how things are gonna play out and like
Right.
how a conversation can lead
Right.
to whatever. But just off of throwing that event, it kind of put me in a different room and it
Mhm.
highlighted me to different people. And I'm thankful for the exposure. I'm happy to see like where it goes and what it turns into. Um and yeah, we'll
Do
see.
you feel right now that you are successful?
I think that I am successful. I don't think that I'm at the level of success that I want to be at,
Okay.
but I will not diminish it and be like, "Oh, I'm not successful," because I know somebody lower than where you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
from where I was 4 years ago
To where you
to
are
where I
now.
am today, it's a complete 360. A complete 360 from finances, from personal growth, from emotional, from mental, like from everything. It's just a complete 360. And so I absolutely think that I'm successful. And then not even that doesn't even really have to do with financial. I feel like I'm successful from like a mental standpoint and from like just
Mm.
like a health standpoint.
Would you give yourself right now where you at being successful? When you first started out in real estate, would have given you a chance being that same girl that lost 30,000 and then admitting I don't know none of this? Would you have gave yourself that shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have. And I would have because and I think and I would have to ask her because I don't know, but I I was always willing to go above and beyond.
Mhm.
You need a contract written at 10 o'clock at night, I'm there. You need to I forgot to do something. It was never like, oh, I'm out, I'm busy, I'm doing like when I first got into real estate, my friends would tell you we be out and I'd be like, look, I gotta go. This lady called me, I gotta go. Like I was on call learning and putting in like the legwork and the
Right.
field work. And so I would have given me a shot. Because anything that was asked of me, one, it was never a no, and two, I always figured it out. So whatever it was, and again, I sat there and I learned and I messed up a lot, but I learned and I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked. So I didn't lack work ethic.
Do you said you have a son.
Mhm.
With this work ethic, do you feel as though maybe you do now, might not always been this way? Do you have work life balance?
Mm, it could be better. In the sense of it could be better when you're an entrepreneur and especially when you sell real estate, you're commission based. And so you're always looking to close that next deal. And
Mm.
so can I show up at every event that my son is at? Absolutely. But am I mentally there? Maybe not. If that makes sense.
Would you? Let me ask you a tough question. What's the biggest house that whatever your biggest commission you ever got?
Biggest commission. I think it was 32.
Okay, let's say this right now. Let's say right now your biggest commission in the next 24 hours will be $2 million.
Hmm.
It's your son's senior high school game, and he wants you to be at this game, the most important game he ever wanted you to be at, and you only can do one. Which one are you doing?
Why can't I do both though? Because
You
real
got
estate you could do both.
you doing one.
And so my answer to that is when there's a will, there's a way. Both will
Yeah,
get
good
done.
answer.
Both will
Good
get done.
answer.
Because I've
Good
been out of
answer.
town and caught in flights back and then went right
Good
back. Like I've
answer.
caught in red eyes to be in a stand
Okay,
and then
Mama
leave.
Bear.
Like
Good
no, it could
answer.
be done when there's that whole like notion of like only you can only choose one.
Mhm.
First of all, you can choose whatever you want to choose, and I stand
Right.
on that. Like I don't go through life thinking like oh this is the only option.
Right.
Like I look at all of the circumstances, whatever. When there's a will, there's a way, and a finesse can happen. I will be at both, and rest
She
assured
said finesse was gonna
that deal
happen.
will be done, and I will be at my son's game.
You make it you make it so digestible, and you have a quote that you told me that you live by. I forgot what it was called, but you make everything so digestible that excuses aren't a thing for you.
No.
Like
Oh, my quote. Everybody has a sad story. Nobody
there
cares.
goes.
That is one of my quotes. Everybody, and I stand on this quote, and I remind myself of this often.
Mm,
That everybody has a sad story. Nobody cares. And I don't say that from a stance of being not wanting to be empathetic or not wanting to be sympathetic with somebody, because again, I have a sad story. But nobody cares about your sad story. The world isn't going to give you a pass because you have a sad story to tell. You don't get a break because you've had a few hard things happen to you. but instead allow that sad story to give you a purpose. Allow it to drive you. And then tell your sad story, because nobody cares about a sad story until you make it. So you have to make it in order for your sad story to even mean anything. So don't allow your sad story to
Just
keep
be
you
a
in a
sad
box, just
story.
be a sad story. Go do something with it.
Mm.
Go make it something. Go help somebody. Go be somebody, so that when you tell your sad story, they look at you and be like, damn, I could do that because she did it. You know what I mean? So everybody has a sad story. Don't nobody care. Like, don't nobody care. Like, and again, I don't
That's
say it.
tough to say to
I don't say it
somebody.
from a stance of not being sympathetic or
Right.
empathetic towards you, though. But I'm saying it from a stance of the world truly does not care. Marcus, if you didn't know me and me and you never had a conversation, you didn't know anything about my background, why would you care that my son's father passed away? You don't know me. Like, you can hear it and be like, oh, that's messed up. But you're gonna go on about your day-to-day life,
Right, and
because
it's over.
I'm not a direct person in your
Right, not my field.
in your
Right.
world, right? So I don't say it from a stance of like, oh, you wouldn't care once you hear the information. You will acknowledge it. You'll say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But life goes on. The world does not stop for you because you have a sad story. So that means that you cannot stop. And so I used to say, when my son's father passed away, you know how everyone always says, like, when someone's died, like, oh, a piece of me died with that person.
Right.
I said that for a long time. Like, when my son's father passed away, my world came to shambles. I mean, it was in shambles. And the saying of a piece of me died with him, I realized that I had to change that and say, I'm going to live for him. All the things that he cannot experience because he's not here anymore, it's my job to go experience it on his behalf. Right? So, like, that whole, like, oh, he's always with you. He's with me lit. He's not about to be with me in the house.
She said he with me lit.
He's not about to be with me in the house. You know what I mean? Stressed, depressed, and looking crazy. We outside, shorty. Like, we is outside and you coming along for the ride. And so I told that to my son. I told my son that. And it's hard of a conversation as it is being a single mom, especially being a single mom with a black boy in America, a single mom with a black boy that plays sports. So that whole narrative of, like,
You fit the stereotype a little bit.
yeah, and then black dads are not around. Yes, they are. Because it's black dads up and down them stands. Like, shout out to all the black dads, because especially in youth sports, they're present. And my son feels that. My son feels the effects of that because all he has is me. And I tell him all of the time, I'm sad that you don't have a dad. Listen, you don't know. I wish the man was here, because you don't know. You really don't know the story. But no one cares that you don't have a dad. You don't get a pass at life because you don't have
You're
a dad.
honest with your son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are one of a million that don't have a dad. And it's sad. It's unfortunate. I hate that for you. And I will go do my best to give you stability, thus, moving forward. But you cannot operate through life and think that somebody owes you something because you don't have a dad. That's not your story. I mean, it is your story, but that's not the story that you lead with for somebody to give you a pass. Nobody's going to give you a pass. It's everyone's story. I don't care. And I don't say like I don't care because I do care about my son. But the world does not care that you don't have no daddy. They're going to say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And you're expected to still show up. You still need to perform. You still need to act on whatever it is that you say, your goals and aspirations, or whatever it is that you say that you need to do. Your sad story does not excuse you for why you didn't do it.
You said that happened when he was 3.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been in love since?
Jesus Christ. Marcus. I was in a relationship after him that I had 2 daughters that passed away. I don't really know if I loved him. I did love him, but I also know that the relationship wasn't a healthy relationship. I think I was with him physically, but not with him mentally. And when I decided that I wanted, like, I was with him physically in the sense of, Jesus, Marcus, this is really, you get on my nerves.
Come on now.
I was with him physically in a sense of, my son's father had passed away.
Right.
My son was, I think it was like 3 years after he passed away. So Jay was like 6, 7. And he just kept like the whole, like, it's only you on the football fields. It's only you at the football fields. And this individual used to come to the football games because I've known him. We were friends. We were cool, whatever the case may be. So he used to come see Jay on the football field sometimes. And it was convenient. I was like, oh, this could work. And so it became a thing, right? And the thing was a thing. And the thing lasted longer than what it was supposed to last. But I don't regret that relationship. I think the relationship definitely taught me a lot about myself, especially like now I've been single thus far. After me and him broke up, I have been single since.
How old is your son?
My son is 15 now. Me and my ex broke up 4 years ago. It was like 4 years ago. But again, I was with him physically. I wasn't with him mentally.
Okay.
And so once I decided, like, once I got over, once we had our daughter, like, we had our daughter, and I was like, oh, you know what? I kind of like, once my daughter was born, I was able to not close a chapter on my son's father, but be at peace with it. Because I
If a
used
new
to,
one was opening.
not even like a new one was open. It was like the baby was born, and I was just like, it's okay. It's okay to love something else. It's okay to
Yeah,
like move
yeah,
on. It's okay. It's
yeah.
okay. Like, cause I felt guilty, of course. Like even my whole pregnancy with her, I was like, I cannot believe I'm having another man's baby. Cause like my son's father was my best friend. I would never
Mm,
have anything negative to say about that man. Like that man was a godsend, and I
mm.
loved him truly. Like so, I've always said like if I've never experienced like love again in that capacity. Like I experienced it once, and it was amazing.
Are
Like
you
I would love to do it
have it
again.
again?
I would love to do it again. We could spend a block on that with
Yeah.
somebody. I would love to do that again. But I will say, again, I was with him physically, mentally. My daughter was born. She passed away 3 weeks after she was born. And then then I got pregnant again, and then I had a stillborn. And then
Mm.
by then, the relationship was kind of just like, yes, we gotta let it go. It was too much drama, too much damage. It was like we were just like too far gone. But now we're cool. You know what I'm
S-
saying? He's engaged. He had a baby. Um, he had a daughter. Like I think like a year, maybe a year, not even a year after we broke up, but
Would
it was pretty recent.
would you say that you're so involved in your work and involved with your son that you don't give yourself that space to break out of
Let me tell you
business?
something right now, Marcus. Let me tell you something right now.
Go ahead and tell me right
Let me
now.
tell you something right now.
Tell me right now then.
The day I get a man,
Uh-huh.
I'm a my man, y'all to death. This whole like independent female,
About to say, are you in that
I
phase?
am not. Rest assured, I am not the one to be like, oh, I don't need. No, I don't. I do.
Oh
I
shit.
don't want to be paying Bob the Builder every weekend to put stuff together in my damn house. That is not what I aspire to do with my life. I would love to be a stay at home. I probably wouldn't want to be a stay at home wife, but it's given.
She's like,
Yeah, it's
I give her a little help.
a little help here and there. You know what I mean? I think, but I do have a solid foundation,
Uh,
and what I've noticed with dating is the foundation. I don't know. And this is always like a debatable subject, but the females with the foundations typically, I don't know, we just dating is like very ghetto for us.
would you say, because a lot of people say this with athletes and such, black athletes, when they get on or get money, they tend to not date their race anymore.
Well, as I told you earlier, my mother's white. I'm cool with biracial dating. It
Thank
doesn't
you.
bother me at
Thank
all.
you.
Like I don't think that it's a race thing.
All right.
Honestly, I don't think that it's a race thing. Like people ask me all the time, "Oh, if your son bring home a white girl, what you gonna do?" I'm not gonna do
I don't
anything.
care.
I don't care. I genuinely
Are
don't
you
care.
happy?
Are you like
All
you
right.
good? I don't care. Like I'm not opposed to dating a white man. Like
Yeah.
when I pop out with a white man,
I would be like, damn it.
and when I pop
He
out
was
with
at
a
the
white
Navy Yard.
man, don't none of y'all say nothing because I done tried with you. It's like no.
Wow. Well, listen, you was about to say one more thing before you go close your deal. You are getting put onto your contracts that you said you got going on. You're teaching
Oh.
people contracts.
Yes, I did what was the question? Contracts. So
Yeah, your
so I
contracts.
got asked one of my friends in the industry, she's a broker now.
Mm.
We did a deal together before.
Okay.
And when we did our deal, she sent over the contract. I was on the listing side, she was on the buy side. And she sent me the contract and I was like, yeah, that's not right. We got to do this. We got to change this. We got to do that. Remove this addendum, do this, do that. And so she started her brokerage and she asked me would I come and train some of her agents.
I
And I
seen that.
said, absolutely. Like this is falling in line with the whole public speaking, teaching narrative. Like let's go.
Right.
She asked me this a month ago. So we're texting throughout the weeks, you
Right.
know. She was like, you ready? You good? You got
Mhm.
everything you need? And I'm like, yep, 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 yep. And then 24 hours before I need to go teach this class on contracts,
Right.
I'm sitting at my computer and I'm like, how am I going to teach these people about contracts? Because you take your real estate license, the class, you get your license, and then you're kind of just going with the wind. But they don't teach you about contracts in the class. They don't teach you how to actually write an offer in the class, right? How to put an offer
Why
together.
not? It seems like an important piece.
It is an extremely important piece, but it's like on the site training. Once you get your license, then you need to go figure out how you put an offer together. And so as I was sitting there, I was writing notes on my Word doc, right? And I had like the different notes. And then I'm an extremist. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a whole like template, booklet, like whatever. Like I'm about to do this whole thing. So then I obsessed with the fact that I need a whole presentation. Like I don't want to just go to this
You made
contract
an
class.
ebook?
I made a whole ebook in 24 hours. I started at like 12 in the afternoon. I finished at 3:30 in the morning. But I'm gonna show it to you. I'm extremely proud of my work.
I mean, you made it in 24 hours.
But it's fire. It's fire. Like
too.
and it differs from other training manuals and like other training books that I've seen personally.
Okay.
Because anybody can just give you a contract and say, hey, this is the contract, right? But what are you supposed to do with this said contract? What documents do you need in your offer? Like how should you properly formulate an offer? So I took the time out to highlight each part of the contract.
Of course, this is cute as fuck.
But when you
Okay.
click on like the yellow stuff on the PDF,
Right.
like you click on it and then it gives you a note as to what you're supposed to put there, where to find that information at, and like how you're supposed to fill that
Who
aspect.
taught you how
I
to
did this
make
all
a
by
damn
myself.
ebook?
I did this all by myself. And I'm so proud of this ebook. It's not been released yet, but I'm releasing it. It comes out on Friday for other realtors and the
Are you selling this?
I am.
I was about to say, businesswoman.
I am selling this. I am selling this ebook. So I want to do the listing. I'm working on the listing agreement contract ebook, and then I want to combine the offer and the listing book. And right now it's just focused towards PG County because I do the bulk of my business in PG County. And so this contract is the MAR contract with the PG County focus. And as I grow the course, I'll add GCAR and DC and Montgomery County, like other different areas. But again, I do the bulk of my business in PG County, so I had to start somewhere.
How
so
much
I did it
is
PG
it?
County. It's $75.
What made you pick that price point?
Well, because I was like, oh, I could sell it for $100, like looking at like training courses and stuff. I was like, I could sell it. It could really be $100, but people love a discount. So I was like, oh, I'll sell it for $100, but I'll give it a discount of $75. Maybe a $25 discount.
And
for
it's
the
available on Friday.
It's available on Friday.
And what else is Friday?
Hmm?
What else is Friday?
It's my birthday.
Yeah.
It's my birthday.
Okay. Well, before we get out of here, still super proud of you. It's always something new. There's always a flashy video. I don't know. You probably are the only person I know that has to keep a videographer. Your videos are too good.
I don't have a videographer.
That event you just did.
I did hire a videographer for that one. Oh, for sure I hired one for that one. But I want a videographer. Like I want somebody to follow me around all day and just get content. Because like I do want to show like the always on joke time side of me. Like I posted my son yesterday. I don't know if you saw the video, but I posted when he thought he was a battle rapper.
I did.
That's us on a daily basis. Like when I'm not being a realtor, when I'm not being a mom, I'm on jokes.
You on jokes.
I'm on jokes. We on jokes. And everything is a joke. And I think like honestly that's how I get through life a lot. Like it's a joke to me. Like I will laugh.
You make things fun.
Yeah, I will laugh at the most opportune things that are not funny. I'ma laugh at it. Like I'm gonna call my best friend like, bitch. Why I just lost this deal, bitch? Why I just lost $37,000?
It's okay, but
no, literally, like I was being a realtor and having a job that's commission based. You gotta laugh. You can never become too emotionally involved into a transaction.
That's a lot of trust in yourself.
Because deals fall apart every day. You lose money every day. Something can change every day. I will pick up this phone and be like, "Girl, well, I just lost $15,000, but we should go to dinner." You know what I'm saying? Like,
money different. I lost 15, but
I be delusional. Like I'm delusional when it comes. I just come up with things in my mind. Like I was talking to my friend earlier, and I was like, I was like, I want to move the Navy Yard and I want to get a new car. And she was like, actually, you just moved into the house less than 6 months ago. And I said, yeah, I ran the comps. I could put a tenant in it. It could work. I can put somebody in here and I can.
You be documenting the hell out this process.
Like I could do this. And she was like, all right, I'll just wait for you. I'll just sit back and wait for it to happen because it's gonna happen.
You really are an extremist.
I go from 0 to 1,000. Like it's never just like, oh, we could chill, right? Like it's 0 or 1,000. There's no like. But then on a personal side, I also crash. Like when I could be at 1,000 all day, but by the time I get home, like I might crash, and then I just don't want to talk to nobody. I need a moment,
and then you back out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say this to you from when I met you 4 weeks ago, 4.5. You have hit marks every week. I've seen you hit marks every week for 4 straight weeks. And now you're making ebooks in 24 hours. You got your own conferences going on. You got a charity event going on. What's next for Ashley?
I really want to tap into the keynote speaker. Like I really want to tap into that field. I really want to just tap into the education and
Of real estate?
yeah, of real
Okay.
estate, and the exposure of real estate and the exposure to the youth of real estate. And so that's things happen every day. Like you get asked things, you know what I mean? Like again, if she would have never asked me to teach a contract class, I probably would have never came up with an ebook. So just looking at every opportunity and finding how to grow from that opportunity and what can come from that. You know what I mean? Like how can I take this one particular opportunity and capitalize on it or grow from it or make it bigger than just me going to talk to a couple of agents? Like maybe Keller Williams will hit me up and be like, "Hey, I need you to train some of my," you know what I mean? Like maybe this
Uh-huh.
can be like a real thing. And so it just starts. You just got to start. And so this
What?
is the start.
Because we didn't dive into it, but would your younger self be proud of you
My younger self,
when everything was going on?
their young self, she would be she would be ecstatic. Never, cause never in my wildest dreams. Like I didn't know what life was gonna be for me. I didn't know like where life was gonna turn.
Right.
I had no idea. So like when I think about the young me, when I look back at like the young me,
Right.
you lit. Like you did it. Like the you did it feeling. The you proved everybody wrong.
Right.
The all the doubters, all of the negative sayings, like all of the, oh, she's just gonna be a this or she just gonna be a that. Like I I proved everybody wrong. And I stand on that. And I also stand on the promise that I made to my son's father that he used to always say, like, if anything ever happens to me, you gotta make sure my son is straight. And so I feel like I've accomplished that, and I feel like I hold true to that promise, and I'm my younger self is jumping for joy. Like she jumps for joy from where I am now, and I know like my 30-year-old self when I turn 40 will probably be jumping for joy. You know what I mean? Like it's just a continuous growth, but I am proud that I did not stay in a box. I'm proud that I was okay with disassociating from certain things and allowing people to feel how they feel, or you know what I mean? Like it's cool. It's cool. And I always tell people like as you go through that phase of disassociating and becoming a new you, it's gonna people that's not gonna want to see you grow. It's gonna people that look at you like, oh, she think that you better. You think this. I do. That whole saying like that I don't
Ashley.
change that. Like people be like, oh, she think that she too good to do this, and she think that
Right.
she, you know how people like, oh, that's a self, and they just feel like that.
Right.
No, I am too good to be on that block. I am too good to go there because I'm not. That's not. I'm going home at night now. I am too good to be in those spaces. So you might say that, oh, she thinks that she's too good. No, I am too good, and stand on that. There's no wavering in that. I don't have to be like, oh, that's just you feel like that because you think that I'm better. No, I am better. And I'm not saying it from a stance of I'm better than you and I think that I think that I'm better than you, but I am better than that situation. And you have all of the room and the opportunity to
Mm.
grow. And I think a lot of times people don't want to say that because it might sound a little bit harsh or they're like, oh, she's stuck up, she's bougie. I'll be whatever you want me to be, Slim. I will be whatever it is that you need and want me to be, but just know that I'm not that. You could stay in that, but I'm not.
Uh,
And so yeah, you think I'm you think I'm too good to chill on the block? I am too good to chill on the block. I am going home to my son. You have fun on that block. I'm gonna go home. I'm too good.
they
And it's
said yes.
okay.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. And a lot of times people don't want to stand in that. They
Yeah.
don't. It makes them feel guilty. You know what I mean? Like you feel guilty. You feel like you turning your back. You could come along. You come along. Because I've never been the one to like gatekeep or like act like you can't come.
Right.
But that sense from like what my mentor told me, that's not what we do. That's not what we represent. That is not what I do, and that is not what I
When
represent.
you say that, you automatically express authority.
Yeah, like that's not what I do, and that is not what I represent. So I'm not going to associate myself with it. I have a whole brand. I'm building, and if you can't respect the build, I don't care. I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe you nothing. You don't owe people nothing. Like people go through life like, oh, I got to do this because I owe. I don't owe a soul a thing. I don't care.
Mm.
Don't talk to me. I'm not gonna lose not an ounce of sleep. I don't owe you nothing. Like you don't owe anybody in life anything. So go do whatever it is that you want to do, regardless of how that makes that person feels. They feel like you too good, and I am. I am. And I'm okay with that.
But what you're expressing right now is such a rarity, though, to just disassociate the outside world and what people think of you. Just be like, oh, well, you feel that way.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's okay.
I have that issue. I can disassociate whatever I like. I like you were saying, it's not who I am. So I can just disassociate. And how you feel, you gonna have to work that out with yourself, baby.
Mhm.
Because I'm not doing it. But a lot of people, that judgment is a lot to be like, I guess I'll
He
do
not
it.
gonna mess with me no more. She not gonna be my friend. No, they gonna spin a block and tell you they proud of you.
Oh yeah,
They gonna be on your views watching every story.
yeah.
Enjoy the show. Give them one.
Little,
Give them a show. They deserve to watch it.
well, listen.
I don't like. Like, I'm serious, Marcus. When I say give them a show and let them applaud on. Because those very people that told you think that you better and you think that you this and I can't stand the bougie this and you the same one that spin the block to tell me how proud you are. I'm proud of me too. Thank you.
I ain't forget.
Yeah, I'm proud.
She said I ain't forget.
I'm proud too. I'm glad. And I'm glad you in my views because I'm going to give you a show. And my page is open for the world. And I'm not blocking you because I want you to enjoy it.
She said, and I'm not blocking you.
No, and I'm not.
Well, listen.
I'm not blocking you. Enjoy the show.
Listen, this has been another great episode with Realtor Bay. I don't know where she got that name from. Your preferred realtor. I want to say thank you for coming again. If you didn't see the first week, because you didn't.
And you're not.
And you're not.
He scrapped the whole interview. Is scrapped. It's done.
She had an interview with me and didn't tell me it was trash. So I told her I was scrapping it. But
no, I did. I told you the lighting was bad. I said, no, actually, I saw you on here. And I said, oh, I can't get the good studio. Oh, you got to put me in a janky studio. It's because it was my first podcast. You want to put me in a janky studio. It's okay.
Now you did like 7. But thank you. So proud of you. I'm pretty sure you're going to be like a best author, a keynote speaker, like the next.
Speakers.
The
Go
next
ahead.
little,
We receive
you know,
all
you
of
like to do
those.
extreme. It's probably next 6 months.
Give me 6 months.
Another 6 months.
You see
So
where we're going to recap at the end of the year.
oh, listen, I ain't got time for that. You my rich friend. So appreciate you. This has been another lovely episode of Vibes. Tell people where they can find you.
I am on Instagram at Your Preferred Realtor. I'm on TikTok at Realtor Bay. But if you follow me on Instagram, all of my information is in my link. I mean, all my information is in my bio in the link.
And your ebook will be out
Friday, May 19th on my birthday.
You gonna put an ebook out on your birthday?
I'm gonna put an ebook out on my birthday.
Saturday, the day after our birthday, you might see this ebook. But I'm gonna let you know this now. Whenever you go live, I will probably be the first person to buy your ebook.
I'm so excited.
I will buy your ebook. So thank you for coming on. Another great episode of Vibes Podcast, man. And we out.
We out.
Oh God.
Do the peace sign, Marcus. Do the peace sign.